Okay, this is being recorded, and I believe it's the 25th or 26th of August. Maybe one of you smart people, 25th of August, 8/25/22. Blaine Williams here, and I'm with some great friends, Derek Anderson and Matt Sistrunk out of Texas, Jimmy Chong out of Rockland, California, and obviously an international man of great flair. And then we have Dean and Paula out of Jamaica. I want to emphasize on this particular call, as this recording may float around, we are not building in Jamaica. Dean has U.S. ties, and he's laying the foundation in the U.S. to expand to Jamaica, so that when we open Jamaica, he brings to that nation shock and awe, extreme shock and awe. And I'm an equal opportunity coach. I don't care if you're tall, short, beautiful, or not so beautiful. I'm going to do all I can to help you extract all of the potential you have to maximize the opportunity that we have in our hands. The beauty of this opportunity, it's like professional sports. There is nobody who is too great for professional sports. Professional sports has an upward ceiling on it, so that no matter how talented someone is, they will still be challenged. Does that make sense? This particular opportunity at MPG Extreme, I've been in the networking industry professionally for 40 years, a long time. I've been in a number of companies. I've had the good fortune of working very hard, running very simple systems and going to the top of these companies. And it would be and by the way, 3 of them became billion-dollar-plus companies. And I was able to be a part of that. It was very exciting. We made a lot of money. We had a lot of fun. But it is my professional opinion that after taking the time for the last 2 months of looking at, and then starting with MPG Extreme at the 1st of August, and now working for the last month, we made already this month 4 times more than we ever made in any other business in the first month. And I want to be careful, because it's not appropriate to make income claims, and I'm not going to do that. We never make income claims. We can't promise. Some people won't even show up to do the job. Most people cannot focus, and focus is key and critical. But I will tell you that in one of the companies, I made 25% in the first month than I made here. And yet in the 6th month, I made over $20,000 per week US. So the future looks very bright for Brooke and I. And I would say this, because we're all together in it. We're in it to win it. The future can look very bright for you. It's your choice. You know that, right? And I don't have a management style. I have a leadership style. Managers are bosses, and they demand. And I just myself, I don't want someone to do that to me. A leader sets an example and allows people that want to follow up. Now, when you look at the business we're in network marketing, if you read the book, Grinding It Out, The Making of McDonald's, the McDonald's story, it was about Ray Kroc and the story. The question was asked of Ray Kroc what business he's in. And the majority of people that think at a base level, they would think that Ray Kroc was in the food business. Hamburger, if you want to call food, hamburgers, french fries, and milkshakes, right? Many people would think that, but that was not the business Ray Kroc was in. Just so you know, according to Ray Kroc in the book, that was not the business he was in. If he was in the food business, he would have been there with an apron on, making food and serving food. Ray Kroc was in the business of opening outlets and moving volume through those outlets. Ray Kroc was in the business of expanding into thousands of verticals in his enterprise. So the person that bought the franchise was not in the same business as Ray Kroc. They were in McDonald's. They were in the same company, but they weren't in the same business. The company is the name, but the business is what you do within that name. I'll give you an example, and that would be Microsoft. 2 people could work for Microsoft. One could be a lead design team guy, and the other could be a janitor, and another one could be a clerk in the office. They all work for the same company, but are they in the same business? The business that you're in is what you do. It's what you do within the structure. Does that make sense to you? So the reason I'm laying this down as a foundation is that before we can be on the same page in our discussion, we have to be of the same mindset in our purpose. So at the Worldwide Dream Team, the organization that we're putting together to provide support for our affiliates, we are in the business of opening outlets and moving volume through that outlet, through those outlets. An outlet in our business is a human being, a couple, an individual who has a goal or a dream or a desire to have a better future that pays $199 US plus the $20 web fee. They get their product and they're now in, and they've declared they want to be financially viable. That's an outlet. Okay. Now in McDonald's, if you came in and spent $1 million or more to get a McDonald's, would you just come in there and do whatever you felt like? Or in any franchise for that matter? No, you'd have a contract, right? You'd have a contract and you would do exactly what their system demanded. We can't do that in network marketing because everybody's a volunteer. And frankly, I don't know if anybody wants to be a manager. I don't want to manage people. They're too difficult. Most people can't even manage themselves. They can't show up. They can't be consistent. They don't discipline themselves to a plan of action. So what I say is that we bring them in and we give them a recommended plan of action that we know works. And our plan of action is not something that I invented. Some of the aspects of it we fine-tuned, but the plan of action that we use has created more millionaires than any other plan of action in network marketing. And I might mention network marketing. If you watch our new video, some of you have already seen it, it talks about the statistics of the amount of money that is being paid out in network distribution or affiliate marketing. I think it was like $220 million a day, or maybe billion. I don't know. It's a big number. And did you see that video, by the way, any of you? Matt, do you remember the number they talked about? 220 million a day?
Yes, that video is phenomenal. In 33 years of network marketing, I have never seen a video so jam-packed with value in such a small amount of time. And I was very, very pleased with it. I'm very excited to use it. Thanks, Coach.
So I think it was talking about that in network marketing, they talk about the immense size of the industry. And then they talk about the commissions being paid. And I believe it was 220 million a day in commissions paid out in the networking industry. 220 million a day. So yesterday they paid 220. Today they paid out 220 million. Tomorrow they're going to pay out and it's going to keep growing. Well, my point is that that money is not divvied out equally amongst the people in network marketing. And I'm going to submit this to you to consider. Okay. How that money is 5% of the people are controlling 95% of that money. And the other 95% are getting little chicken bones. What separates them? Is it because the top people are trying to keep the bottom people from making it? No, the top people actually beg the other people to do what they teach them. And the truth of the matter is, and I've learned this over 40 years, I've been doing it. Forrest Gump is correct. What did he say? What was that line Forrest Gump gave? Stupid is as stupid does, right? Forrest Gump said it, that people just can't help, but oh, we got some other people that have come on here, so I'm going to bring him on. There's Jerron. There's Kerry, I'm sorry, Kerry. And then Chuck made it on. Great stuff. Good to have you. You guys can come on the panelist line. So I don't listen. I don't have a mean spirit about me, but I do talk rather directly. And I'm not the one that came up with that line. That was in the script of Forrest Gump. Stupid is as stupid does. But I got to tell you something. My dad told me when I was a kid, some people just can't help it. They just can't help, no matter what, they just can't help but sabotaging themselves. And if you spend your life trying to save them, you're going to be in the drink with them. You're going to be like the lifeguard that jumps in the water with the drowning person, and they're going to take you down. You cannot save people from themselves. You can only appeal to them. And I have a habit. I will appeal to someone for a period of about a month or 6 weeks. And then when I realize no matter what I do, they're not going to pay attention, I'm always cordial and professional with them, but I will not go back and invest time with them after that. I will find someone in network marketing under them that I can connect with and I can work with. So with that said, McDonald's has a system and we want to run that system. We want to run a version of that system. So what is the system? The guy that taught me in network marketing was making approximately $300,000 a month. That's the guy that taught me. He was making about $300,000 a month. So I used to go have 6-hour lunches with him. Every time I bought the lunch, I sat down, and after about 2 years of having this relationship with him, he said, I have not ever worked with anybody that was so willing to do what I told him the way that I told him. And I said, well, you're the one making 300 grand a month. I've not in my career made in network marketing 300,000 a month. I've made a couple 100,000 a month, but never 300,000. And back then when I was dealing with him, I was trying to figure out how to make $200 a year. Honestly, I was not good at network marketing initially. And I consider that a high compliment. And when I was an athlete, by the way, in college, the coaches would always use me as an example as being ultimately coachable. And the reason is that I learned something a long time about authority and delegated authority. Someone is there to instruct, and the other person is there to learn. And if you're with someone and you're instructing them and they're going to contend or argue with you, I can promise you right now, it's not going to go uphill from there. If they're strong-willed enough and they're not willing to learn, then it's better to bless them and let them go do what they want. So my thing I would say is, if you're here to generate revenue, to generate income, I would encourage you to follow the system as closely as you can until you get to 10,000 a month of net income. When you get to 10,000 a month, then I would say you can do whatever you want to do, however you want to do it at that point, because you've earned the status that is very elite in networking. Tiny number of people get there. The likelihood is when you get to 10,000 a month, you're going to have a much greater appreciation for the systems we run than when you're down making, $200 a month or whatever. So what is this system I'm talking about? The system is a funnel that you bring people in at the top. Okay, you bring a lot of people into the top of the funnel. Chuck, I don't know if you can come on the panelist line. If you can, I'm going to click it again. If you can't, I understand that you might be on a phone or not able to. Chuck Thomas, by the way, is a very, very good friend of mine. I've known this guy since '98. Met him at a business workshop. He's a former San Francisco 49er, two-time Super Bowl champion.
Wow.
And I've got a picture of him snapping the ball to Joe Montana. And Joe Montana's legs, I think, were skinnier than Chuck's forearms. He's a behemoth, and he's my dear friend, and he's going to build a huge team together with this MPG Extreme. So Chuck, it's good to have you on here tonight. So let's talk about this system, and let's spend about 10 to 12 minutes on it and then wrap this up. The system is a funnel system, and not in the sense that some of you might think, a funnel like a marketing tool. We are going to have lots of marketing tools that will be, if you looked at the video that came out today, that'll give you a sense of the quality of all the tools that we will have. Our new website, when it comes up, is going to be eye candy. And our funnel system that will have our landing pages will be first class, world class. But what I'm talking about is not a funnel system like that tool. It's a funnel system like a function of your business. So what you have is in a funnel, you have a device that is wide at the top. It comes down into a neck and then down, for example, into a bottle or something where you're pouring a fluid, right? So at the top of it is where you're putting everything that you want to get into the bottle. The bottle is the group of reps or customers that you bring in. Are you with me? So your objective is to recruit customers and independent sales representatives. That's your focus. And so what you do is you put a lot of material in the funnel and then you sort the material. True network marketing is not sales. True network marketing is sorting, because you're looking for someone who's looking for what you have. And thus, you can't say the wrong thing to the right person, and you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. You just need to be saying something all the time that catches somebody's wavelength, their energy, their resonance.
Yes.
So our message, by the way, is about the price of fuel. Now, has there ever been a time in any of your lifetime where the price of fuel has been more on the top of the discussion around the kitchen table or around the gas pump at the gas station? No. Everybody is thinking about it, except the people that spent 70 grand to get a Tesla, all electric Tesla. And then everybody else is paying for gas is cussing them out and then cussing the gas pump out. Never before in my lifetime have I seen a topic that has been more polarizing, bringing together more coalescing is a better word, bringing together the people with one common adversary, and it's whoever's inside that pump or behind that pump that's doing this to them. People like to be victims, so it's okay to say that it's doing it to them. You want to try something out, go to the gas station tomorrow, pull in, and when you pull in, you know how there'll be someone on the other side, right? Wait until someone's at the other side. When they get out to pump the gas, just ask them, hey, do me a favor, look at the pump and tell me how much the super is over there. And they'll tell you. Now, you know by deduction, it's the same price on your side, right? You know that, don't you? But they're
Yeah.
going to look at you, they're going to look at you like you're probably not all together there. But if you just say, hey, do me a favor, look at the pump. How much is the premium over on that side? And they're going to tell you. And you look at your pump and say, gee, I thought mine was just overpriced. Aren't these gas prices crazy? And you started a conversation, and I've had people that have reacted, some of them pretty excited, like these gas prices suck or whatever. And I said, well, let me tell you something. I don't like them either, but I have found a solution, and it's in a little 5-minute video. Would you like to find out how to beat these gas prices? Because whoever's doing this to us, always find a villain in your story, a villain that is doing something to you together. Put yourself together with them that you are being violated. And the villain is whoever's behind that pump manipulating those prices is not doing something for us. They're doing something to us. And I've got a little 5-minute message that can give you a solution. Would you like that? I have not had one person that didn't want to watch the video. And 95% of the people that have watched the video, I brought in from the time I get on the phone until they're signed up is less than 10 minutes. Why? Because it's a message that makes sense. And the other reason is because I know that we've got the best product in this space. And I know that we have, without reservation, the best compensation structure. I'm not practicing this. I've been doing this full-time as a career for 40 years. I've looked at every kind of pay plan that's out there, and I will set this pay plan down against any other company, not just in the gas wars, in network marketing. There is no plan that compares to this, unless it's a money game or Ponzi. And then, don't do it because you're going to get in trouble. This is a bona fide plan. So what's the deal? We got this big funnel. You're meeting people. You're putting them into the funnel. How do you put them in the funnel? I'll tell you how not to put them in the funnel. Don't give them a card with your phone number and name on it and think they're going to call you back. There ain't no pity in Be Back City. You write that. A, no pity, and B, bad. It was, oh, I gave out 25 samples. There goes 25 samples times 20 bucks. There was 450 bucks down the drain. Well, at least you're going to get a tax. Let me say this to you. You need to get their information. So when I asked them, would you like to watch the video? I didn't give them a card with the video address. I said, give me your number, jot it down. I'll text it over to you, or would you prefer to watch on your computer? I'll email it to you, and then I'll get back with you. You must control the point of contact. You must. If you don't, you're not a professional. Amateurs throw mud on the wall. Professionals have a crosshair and they shoot in the heart of the target. Okay, you with me? I don't know if you want to be able to bring in 95% of the people you talk to, but I'd say that's a pretty admirable number. And I can teach that to anybody as long as you've got a reasonable, pleasant personality. And all of you do. And 95% is unheard of, I can assure you that. So with that said, what's that funnel system? We just talked about your meeting people. So where are you going to meet them? There are approximately 8 billion people on the planet. We're going to be all over the world. So when you saturate it, you call me because you're in my downline and you will be my best friend ever. Because I'd like it to saturate next month. But the reality is you're never, ever, ever going to run out of people. You will only run out of attitude. What do I mean by that? You have to build your attitude by reading good books. I've got a book here that I'd recommend everybody read. I've read this book about 20 times. It's called The Magic of Thinking Big by Dr. David Schwartz. I could give you an anthology of books to read. Writing Out, The Making of McDonald's, Eric Worre, Go Pro, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Probably all of you have read some of these books. But the bottom line is leaders are readers and readers are leaders. So now what happens is you've got these people coming into your funnel. Where else would you meet them? Everywhere you go. We go to the fair up here in Northern Idaho, and we're going to go look at the pigs and the sheep. And I'm going to talk to the dad that's got the kid that's got the pig, the little tiny kid with the 300-pound pig. I'm going to say, how does that kid do that without the pig eating him? And the guy will look at me and laugh, right? Why? Because people, it's why I like Jimmy when I talk to Jimmy. He's a brilliant guy, but he's got a beautiful nature, a beautiful sense. I mean, look at him. You can't help it. He's a sweet guy. He's got a good heart. When people know you're being sincere and not sarcastic, they're going to want to laugh because people have been through COVID for the last 2.5 years. They want to laugh and have some fun. So I say, how do you keep that pig from eating that little kid? Because it looks to me like it maybe already ate a couple of them. How long have you guys been raising these animals? They tell me, and I said, well, listen, you guys must have a little ranch or something, right? You have equipment out there? I said, how do you feel about the fuel prices? Do you know how easy that is to ask? If you walk up to someone that you don't know, and the second you meet them, you go, hey, how do you feel about the fuel prices? That's like somebody pouncing on them. And nobody wants to be pounced on. But if you say hi, you're pleasant, you open up a conversation, it's a nice car, that's a whatever. Man, we're getting some great weather lately. Hey, let me ask you something. How's your family feeling about these fuel prices? It's an easy question. And then zip it up and listen. Just let them talk. Because I'm going to tell you something, the more you let them talk, the more animated they will become. And the more animated they become, their emotions come with it, the endorphins come with it, and then you can insert the solution into that emotion. It is 100 times more powerful. If you're just talking at them from your head, it is a sales presentation. But if you bring up something that raises emotions, it's an agreement. It is very powerful. So you ask them that question. Now, if you have people that you're meeting all the time, how else can you get them? Craigslist ads, Google search ads. You can you can buy leads. There's people that are harvesting leads for opportunity seekers. You're looking for a human being that can hear something and will watch a 5-minute video. It's not complicated here. And then when they watch the video, don't call them on the phone. Because if you call them on the phone, it will open the door to what I call the scenario of disaster. The scenario of disaster is when a person asks a question and you start answering questions. The person answering questions is being controlled. The person asking the questions is in control. So when they ask a question, say, that's a great question. Can I ask you something real quick? You got to learn how to shift the conversation. So they ask you a question. Hey, can you tell me a little bit more about it? I said, yeah, absolutely. I can tell you a little bit more. But before I do that, can I ask you a quick question as well? And they say, yeah. Say, I don't have much time right now, but can I get back with you with a 15-minute window? We can fill in all the blanks. And they say, yes. You get off the phone. And then you set up that time, you set up the time with them, you get off the phone and you come back with somebody that can talk with them. Now, why do we do it this way? It's called a three-way call. You can do it in a group setting like I am tonight. I do a lot of these where I'll have a bunch of people working and then I'll tell them Thursday night at 8 or Tuesday at 6, we're going to get on the webinar and we'll have like 40 people on the webinar that all came for a three-way call. How efficient is that? And then what we'll do is we'll just talk with them. We don't pitch them. We don't have to pitch them. They got a car, they're paying for gas, they're sick of the price. We just ask them if they'd like to do something about it. And then we ask them, would you like to do something about inflation? The only way you can overcome inflation is become the president or the head of the Senate or the Congress. And then you can become a wretched politician. Or you can make more money, a lot more money. You can overcome inflation by making a lot more money, right? Agree with that? So if we do this, if we ask them, how would you like to overcome inflation? I'd like it. I said, well, I can tell you this. If you're willing to ask people a simple question and share a little 5-minute video, I can't make you promises, but I could probably help you make a couple $1,000 in the next 30 days. And over the next 90 days, I can probably help you make 5 to 10,000. Does that interest you? It does. Well, we have a pill that you saw in the video. It goes in the car. It extends your mileage. It's good for your motor. You can start your own home-based distribution company for not 2,000 or 3,000, but for only $199. And you get my coaching for free. So my question is, do you want to do that? And 100% of the time, they say, yeah, I want to do it. Because it makes sense. They're not getting some kind of pitch. So they come funnel, they come into the system. The system works like this. You make a contact, you share the video, you get the person on a three-way call, whether it's a group environment or one-to-one. I've done something with you, haven't I, Derek? I want you to open your mic and I want you to tell these guys, when we got on, did it feel like the people were being pitched by me?
No, they didn't feel like they were being pitched.
And how did it go? Did we,
Very
did
well.
we have a happy outcome?
Yes, we did.
In other words, what percentage of the people decided to get in? What percentage decided to get in?
Well, I think when we did, it was 100%.
Yeah, it's 100%. So when someone says, well, you know what, if you're really good, you could get maybe 35% or 30%. That's because they're not a good trainer. So they accept those kind of miserable numbers.
Yes.
I just be honest with you. If you're a master craftsman, can you imagine the brain surgeon talking to you about your mother getting her brain surgery? He says, well, if we could have a 35% positive outcome, we're pretty happy with that.
It's not going to work.
Oh, listen, we should go for 100%. So you bring them in the funnel, you approach them. So that's step one in the system. Build a funnel of people. You can do that any way you want. We have tools you can use. You can create tools. Just don't lie and don't advertise and make claims. The key is get the people in the funnel. Don't have a list of 3 people and think you got a funnel. You got to have 100 or 200 people and you got to maintain 100 or 200 people all the time. So you never have lead deprivation. Lead deprivation will turn you into a desperate networker. But when you got a lot of leads and someone says, no, not for me, you can just say, next. Next. You never bought. Some will, some won't. Next. You do an approach. You give them the video. You do know that I am speaking very specifically. And what I'm not saying is you make a contact and have a 20-minute conversation and explain everything. You ask them if they'd like a solution, you tell them you got a video, you send the video, and you get off of the phone or off of the text. If you start having protracted conversations, I am telling you, you are running your own version of the system, and that's okay. You're an independent entrepreneur. You can do it however you want, but you are being a maverick, and it will not go well with you. Remember this, I've done this a long time. I'm not saying this, please don't misunderstand my explanation of anything other than I have watched the people that succeed and the people that fail, and success leaves signs and failure does also. Okay. And so if you do it the way we teach it, you have the highest predictability. Put your personality into it. But if you say, well, with my people, I just need to explain more. There is no such thing as my people. They're all God's people.
That's right.
There is no my people. There's just people out there. And there's not, well, the people that I know need to hear it this way. That is a fiction. It's not the truth at all. We have a system, you run it, you operate it, and it will work. It'll work predictably. It's dependable. It's duplicatable. Now, if you heard what I said, you just call someone, how you feel about the price of fuel? Would you watch a video? How many of you'd agree that someone with about a 5th grade literacy level could do that? How many agree with that? Yes?
Mhm.
Why is that important? Because it becomes ultimately duplicatable. Because let me tell you something, a neurosurgeon that is working his ham off as an intern at the hospital, when he's done working, he has about a 5th grade mentality left over. Busy, successful people use a lot of bandwidth with what they do. If you bring to them another complicated process, you will find more than often they will say, I need to take a pass. I don't really have the time for this.
Mhm.
But if you show them something that a caveman can do, and they can see they can make 10 or 15,000 a month, you're going to probably have a good outcome. So that's why we do it the way we do it. And I'll wrap up with this, and then we'll open up for some questions. In network marketing, it is not how many people you can recruit that determines your success. It's how many people you can drive 10 deep or 20 deep that determines your success. I know a lot of people that can go 100 wide and they're a 1/4 inch thick. They go a mile wide, a 1/4 inch thick. They never have duplication. Why? Because they don't understand the business they're in. We're in the business of opening outlets and duplicating. My biggest players, since I've been in this industry, have come not from the people I brought in. They've come from the people that have been 4, 5, 6, 8 deep. I've never gone whale hunting. In fact, the reason I don't go after the big sharks or the big whales is because they are a pain in the ass. They want all these concessions. They think that somebody should carry their laundry around for them. And I found that the person with the most duds ends up with the most studs. So I just talk to people. I talk to people that are good people, that are respected and loved in their circle of influence, and I show them what to do. And if I've got one person that leads me to 10, and those ones lead me to 10, I now have 111. And if that group of people leads me to 10, I've got 1,000. If they lead me to 10, I've got 10,000. We built organizations of over 100,000 within 5 or 6 months during our career. And we've done it not by going out and getting big sharks that bring big teams, which, by the way, typically, as soon as something doesn't go right, we'll leave you and go somewhere else and try to raid your business. So I'm very, very cognizant of that.
Mhm.
So back to the system. We got the funnel filled up. We do a simple approach. We give them the video. We follow up most ideally by text, so you're not in a phone conversation. So you don't have the scenario of disaster where they start asking you questions, you start answering. You drive them to a follow-up appointment. You don't tell them. Well, let's do a call tomorrow at 3. I'm gonna go ahead and bring in Matt to be on the call with you. That's like saying to that prospect, let's do a call tomorrow. I'm gonna bring the 300-pound rabid hyena to come in and talk to you. They don't want the closer to come. So you don't tell them, they don't need to know that. You're running your business the way you want to run it. If you want to bring someone else to meet them, that's great. And the way you do that, when they get on the call, you say, oh man, I'm so glad, Jimmy, that you're here. And I was talking with my good friend, Colonel Derek, and I asked him if he might come on and meet you. I thought you guys would find some commonalities between the two of you. And by the way, Derek is the one that's helped me with this. Derek, this is Jim. Jim, this is Derek. Okay? And that's what we do. And then you zip it up. You don't interrupt. You let the person do the deal and bring them to a close. They will typically talk with them, wrap it up, close it, and sign them up for you. You don't give up 1 penny of your commission for doing that. Now, why don't people do that when it's so bloody simple? Because people were taught that it's important to be an expert. In everything you do, you need to know everything. But let me ask you, in what operating room does a scrub nurse cut the patient open with a scalpel? In other words, everybody has a role or responsibility, right? Our role is when we have a prospect is to do the invite, to be a professional inviter and get them on the call. After watching the video, the person role that's doing the presentation is to present and close. Now, you'll be in both those roles as soon as you have a team, because as your team is growing, you'll be the presenter and closer for them. But when you have your prospect, you've got to be the inviter and introducer. Does that make sense to you?
Mhm.
Now I'm going to give you the last nugget here, why we run it that way. When you run it that way, if for example, Matt brings his prospect Jim to me, you realize that the majority of people that have tried network marketing have had miserable results. Very sharp, very bright people, successful in their own field, but they get into network marketing. They'll tell you, most people tell you, I suck at network marketing. How many of you know that's the case? Most people aren't good at it. If they built a check for $5,000 a month, they think they hit the gold mine. But I'm telling you, most people, they're trying to get to 500 a month or 1,000 a month. And it's not their fault. It's what they're being taught. The system I'm teaching you right now, this is a unique method that we use, that we developed. What we like about it is that I can say, when Matt brings Jim to me on a call, Jim in his mind likely has seen or tried network marketing. He's either seen his friends try it and had miserable results and thought, why are they wasting their time with that? Or he's tried it and he's probably had poor results compared to what he hoped for. Does that make sense to you all?
Mhm.
Tell me if it makes sense.
Yeah.
Make a little air move around your room for me, would you? So yes. So watch this. The other thing is that the most common excuse besides that, which by the way, they will never tell you that. They rarely will tell you, they rarely will tell me that it doesn't work. Right? It's hard to tell someone that's made it work that it doesn't work. They'll use some other excuse like, my parakeet is constipated and I've got to vet next Tuesday. Come up with something. But the other reason, by the way, is they don't want their friends to think they're doing something weird. Everybody's got a peer group. And everybody knows that a lot of people have kind of an aversion or a negativity toward networking.
Mhm.
So how do we overcome that? And by the way, the other thing is they're very, very busy. And if they think they've got to go through a big learning curve to do it, they're probably going to take a pass. Do you think all three of those are viable scenarios? Yes?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Why do we do it this way? I want you to watch, because I'm going to kill 3 birds with 1 BB. What I'm doing the follow-up for Matt with Derek, and Matt has done exactly what I just shared with you. He called Derek and Derek, how you feeling about the gas price? These are old West Point buddies, right? And thank you for your service, guys. All of you that are on here that were in the service, thank you. I appreciate it. It allowed me to go to college and play football and chase women, by the way, when you guys were out doing. So here's the deal, is I know that one of those three things will be the only reason they wouldn't move forward. So I kill all three of those with one BB. You ready? Matt ran the system exactly the way that I just told you. He didn't change it. He didn't have a long, if Matt gets with that guy and has a long conversation, it's all, I'm telling you right now, all bets are off. Because he completely undermined himself. Because when Matt introduces me to Derek and I say, hey, Derek, how are you? We talk a little bit. I say, how do you guys know each other? Have a little rapport. You got to be a social person, by the way, to do this. To be the presenter and the closer. You can't make people feel like you're selling them a cheap car for a big price. They got to feel like you're taking care of their interest.
Yeah.
He introduced me. I asked Derek those questions and I said, Derek, what did you like about the video? Derek tells me. And then I answer a few questions. I'm not going to go into what the presenter does exactly, because we're going to do calls together for the next week or so, and I'll be doing it and you'll see what I do. So I guess my thought is, why tell you now? Why not just put you in a position, if you want to know, you bring people to me to do it. When I get done with that, I say to Derek, I said, Derek, you're a retired colonel. You're working on this Hall of Fame reunion for your head coach. You're a busy guy, aren't you? Go ahead and unmute your line and role play with me, Derek.
Yes, I am.
You're a busy guy, aren't you,
Very
Derek?
busy.
And you were a colonel in the Army, which is really impressive, by the way. I thought for a minute you might have been a guy with a chicken restaurant when they said colonel, but then I found out you're like a real colonel, right? So here's the reason I'm bringing that up is, Derek, just by that, I know you are committed to excellence in what you do. Is that fair to say?
I would think so, yes.
I would think so, yeah. So let me ask you something. When Matt approached you about this, what did he do? Did he give you a long presentation? What did he do?
No, in reality, he sure did not. He
What did he
gave me a video.
He just gave you a video. He asked you if you didn't like the gas prices, gave you a video.
Well, he said he had an opportunity where some people could be helped and we could probably make a little money.
All right.
And,
And then he gave
right
you a
away,
video,
my
right?
interest, and gave me a video.
And then what did he do? Did he call you back and have a long discussion with you?
He called me back, but we didn't have a long discussion because I was.
Did he set up? Did he set up this call?
Tonight?
No,
I think I said it.
I'm role playing with you, Derek.
Yes, he did.
I'm just role playing with you. So when Matt called you back, did he just set up a time for us to talk like this?
Yes.
And then he introduced me to you. So what I want to point out to you, Derek, is that is how a professional in our business works. That's what excellence looks like in our business. It actually takes a discipline, because you know Matt and I know Matt. He's a West Point graduate. He's a brilliant guy. He could do all this really well. But what I'm trying to say to you is this, is that he's running a system just like the owner of a McDonald's franchise is running a system. And the reason that's important is if you could just make a contact with someone, ask them if they're bothered by gas prices, and share a video, I could help you make 100 or 200,000 a year. Would that interest you?
Yes, it would.
It's $199 to get started, not 2,000 or 3,000. And you get my coaching and support for free. Do you see any reason why you wouldn't want to get started right now?
No, not at all.
That's what we do. Now, you can have a long, protracted dialogue about the molecular structure of the gas product if you want. On my last TV, and listen, I'm a biochemist. I actually understand how the product works. I got a degree in that field. It's the most boring thing on the planet, by the way. But I never talk about that. When they say, how does it work? You know my answer? It works unbelievable. It's great. It's my answer. It's very technical. It works great. You know what? I put my foot on the gas and my car goes vroom. And I watch my gas gauge. and it goes down. I look at my gas gauge and it goes down low. Not like yours, which is going down fast. Are you hearing me, guys? So when the person is listening to you and they realize they don't need to know anything, they only need to know how to give out the video, set up a call. They can make money right away. You can have someone sign up today and making money tomorrow. Now, do we advocate people sitting under a rock like a mushroom being dumb? No. You want to become a master of your craft. So you first master what I just shared. And then while we're talking before you, you then master the presentation and the close. Those are the only two things you ever got to do. You don't ever have to even learn how to spend the money. If you're not sure how to do that, send it to my wife. We'll take care of that. She'll even take you out and show you how to do it. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When people understand that have been in network marketing, that they don't need to get a list of their family, friends, and acquaintances and go out and irritate them and pretend like they're a weight loss expert or a dietitian or somehow a chemical engineer that knows all about the gas product, that all we are is someone that gives out a video and invites them to a call and we're their buddy from down the street. When that light goes on, you own the code to the vault. Because what you've got is duplicatable with the brightest person or the slowest person. In fact, the ones we have the hardest time with are, truthfully, I'm not saying this sarcastically, the one we have the hardest time with are the more intelligent people, the more higher educated people, because two things, they want their name on this picture. They want their signature on the document to take credit for it. Number one, people with egos are a problem. I'm talking about people with out of whack egos are a problem, not egos. So you got to be a teammate. You should not worry about who scores the touchdown. You just want to win the championship and get the Vince Lombardi trophy. Truthfully, when the tide goes up, all the ships rise. This thing about being the dominant dog on the hill, it's overrated. I've been there. It's a lonely place. You want to be with a team of people at the top of the hill. You want to scale that mountain together, win together, celebrate together. So that's it. That's the system. Could have done it in 15 minutes, like I said, but I always like to lie to people. It's like Scarface, the movie Scarface. Remember that with Al Pacino? He said, I tell the truth even when I lie. I've got a lot longer. I gotta work on that. But I will tell you this. I will tell you this. I am more excited right now at 69 years old, having done this kind of business since I was in my mid-20s. I've had a great lifestyle. I live on a beautiful ranch up here in Idaho. Everything we've got is paid for. We got a great life. If you see my wife, you'll know I got a great life. I got a unbelievable family. I've got unbelievable great friends. God is bringing more people into my life, like Matt and you, Jim, other people. I'm not out looking to get more friends in my life, but I will tell you this. I will always make room for the quality of people that are on this screen, on this webinar. But you know what? About 7 months ago, I was talking to Brooke, my wife, Brooke, and I said, I've got a talent and ability. And this will speak probably to you, Jim, because of talking to you today. I got to know you a little bit. I felt like I got to see a bit of your heart. I told her, I said, who's going to help the people? The middle-class people that are being squeezed out, they're destroying the middle class right now. We're going to have an elite class and a third world country lower class is what's going on. We're moving into a Marxist type of society. I said, who's going to help the people? They're not going to be able to afford to buy bread and eggs and milk. They're not going to be able to take their car. They're not going to take their kids and family on a vacation and go out to the ocean or go to the lake. They're going to have to watch every penny. They're going to have to get a second and third job. I said, who's going to help them? And to whom much has been given, much is required. I told Brooke, I said, I'm going to find a vehicle that is so simple that stressful people that have a whole load of life can do and duplicate and make an extra 500. I'm not in my mind thinking about how many people I can help make 20 or 30,000 a month. Those people will come and they will rise up and they will thrive. But I'm going to tell you, I want to help the underserved people that an extra 500 or 1,000 or 2,000 will change their life. We'll let that man come home and look at his kids and be proud that that wife can come home and be with those kids and raise her family. I want to bring a leadership team around me that will be loyal. You know, there's something about fidelity that's hard to come by anymore. So to me, fidelity is everything. Trust, you know, our business moves at the speed of trust. And I'll tell you something else. I'm a big believer that when you come into a relationship, you got to make a decision at some point. It might take a month, it might take 5 months, it might take a year. But you got to get to a point where you find out, are you in the team or are you in the stands watching the team? But if you're going to be in the team in the huddle, it's all hands on deck. It is pure commitment and loyalty. That's why I love Chuck Thomas. Chuck played for 2 Super Bowl teams, and I'm going to tell you something. That man knows about loyalty and allegiance. And I want brilliant, bright, smart people around me, smarter than me, that make me uncomfortable because they're so smart, so that I can be protected by a lot of people that see things that I don't see. Because if we're going to serve 1 million people in this, we got to have a leadership team of 50,000 people. That's my dream right now. That is my exit strategy, to leave that legacy. So when I met you, Colonel, and I realized all those guys we were on the call with that are on with us tonight, I thought, man, you talk about a legacy of leadership. And listen, I know they paid you guys way more than they should have. I think when they paid colonels like 350, 400,000 a year, right? Yeah, that's what I thought. You send those kids over there in a uniform. You send those kids over there in a uniform and bring them back in a body bag, and then try to figure out how they're going to weasel their families out of benefit. It's an abomination what they're doing to our military right now. But I'm going to one thing. I look at you right now. I'm looking right in your eyes right now, Colonel, and I know I'm talking to a pedigree leader that's got a servant heart, that knows how to organize people, move people in a mission, and get things done. I know that about Matt. But I will tell you this, when I was in football coaching, and I'll close with this thought. I had a coach tell me, he said, Vince Lombardi is who was his mentor. And that coach told me, he said, the biggest problem you have is heavily talented people that cannot focus and have too many distractions. He said, you will never win a championship with them. He said, you're better off to have less talented people who will be fiercely loyal and fiercely focused. Does that make sense to you all?
Oh, yeah.
So I am always looking not to try to get someone to be a loyal, but to build a relationship with them where they are compelled to be loyal, because they know I will be loyal to them. If you'll do that with your people, and you will show them that you have your eye on the mark of the goal, they'll follow you down to the valley of death, and they'll come out the other side with death in a bag. That's what they'll do. So any questions you guys have? Chuck, I'm going to unmute your line if you want to say anything. I always love hearing from you, brother. So if you want to unmute your line, you sure can. And anybody else that would like to make a comment, you can unmute your line. Anybody?
Coach,
Sorry.
Jimmy?
Go ahead, Jim.
No, go ahead. You first.
Hey,
Just real quick,
Hold on, Matt.
Coach, I just want to
I'm
thank
calling
you.
you Jimmy, but I know your name is Jim, so I don't want to offend you. Are you comfortable with Jimmy, or do you prefer Jim?
Either way doesn't matter, but I prefer Jim, but either way is fine.
Then Jim it is, because I took a couple liberties and I wanted to acknowledge that. Matt, go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank you, Coach, for putting this together and for giving so much focused attention to our team. We really appreciate it. We don't take it for granted, and we're going to honor it with that focus that you're looking for. And we're definitely going to do this thing by the book the way you're teaching us. And I just wanted to say that real quickly. Thank you so much for this time.
Thank you, by the way, Matt. That means a lot to me. I'm going to just ask you a question. would you say that what I shared I didn't just tell you to do it this way, I told you why.
Right.
Does it make sense to you why we do it the way we do it?
It makes all the sense in the world. And your McDonald's example was perfect. Ray Kroc was not in the burger business. He was in the systems business. He was in the creating more locations business. Okay. The guys who bought the franchise, they had to be in the burger business because they were cooking the burgers and doing all that stuff. But Ray Kroc was in a different business under the same company name. So I got that.
Yeah,
And that's a
yeah.
perfect
Pick that up
example.
today. We talked about that today. So here's the other thing. I'll just say this. Those guys that own those franchises made an average of about $250,000 per franchise per year. And Ray Kroc became a billionaire. The idea of opening outlets and overriding all the outlets is the idea of ultimate leveraging. So Jim, you were going to make a comment, friend.
Yeah, first off, I think Chuck is here, so I better say nice things about him. But no, Chuck Thomas, really awesome individual. And I don't know how good it can get, but I'm listening to you present, and forget about the product first, if I may, because I'll get back to that. But Chuck was like, oh, this guy is kind of like just like you in terms of philosophy. I'm saying, wow, this guy actually, I love your mindset because I have a similar mindset. Only yours is actually more advanced because, you have the tremendous success that follows, I'm assuming. I have a lot from a community space and business space at a smaller level, but I really love what you're talking about. And I really mean this. I do not say this lightly. I see a lot of people, owners. I'm not saying this like, I'm just saying that I'm connected with some really great people, but I'm sitting here like, this guy is a guy that needs to speak with my group about what I have is called the side hustle business marketplace that we're opening up, make some money, gain a skill, right?
That's right.
And so, but I just look at you and I go, man, this point for point, I'm tracking you. And I love I don't know how much more in tune you can be, first off, because I know, provided you're sincere, and I don't say, I'm not saying you're not, I'm just saying that, as we get to know each other, time reveals all things, but I love where you're coming from, your space, very genuine. Colonel, you should know that I'm also connected with a guy that's on the Fifth Dimension. You remember that group? He's a new bass baritone singer over the last several years. Well, he has something called Music Therapy for Veterans. I represent him for Northern California, so we're really launching it in. I'm working with one of the very few women combat veterans. So the reason why I share that is, to me, this is not about the fuel product. Okay, this is about building community, and I'm looking at the fuel product. Definitely great product. Okay, I just want to mention that. I'm not trying to say it, but everything you shared was spot on point, Blaine, and hearing you share, I'm just really blown away. And I don't say that like I'm in front of a lot of great people. And all I'm saying is that I really want to give you credit because your heart is there. You're genuine. I love your illustrations. They make sense. It's not network marketing. And so we'll talk a little bit later, but I want to give you kudos. Now about the product and opportunity, I see this, and we'll talk more, some specifics, but I really love this because I love it where I never want to present something that's going to hurt the community or hurt the other people. I don't care if I make $1 million and a lot of people get hurt intentionally. I know about that's not the way I want to make my money. Okay. That's just what happens a lot of times, right? Great product. People save money anyway. Better. We know that, better for their car, save money, they're making their money back. I mean, I used to call this a no-brainer product because all you're doing is saying, you want to lose weight, eat less, drink more water, and exercise more. I mean, this just makes sense. And whether you do it or not is all about discipline, not about anything else, to be honest. But I love what you presented. I learned a lot here watching you. So thank you. And I just wanted to thank you. And just, I love Colonel, just thank you for serving our country. I really mean it. And Chuck, thank you for inviting me and introducing me to Blaine. I feel like my life has just been enriched just by this thing. Because I almost didn't jump on because I have other things, but I felt like I really wanted to find out what the way you position this, but also, who you were. So I got a sense of that. Sorry, it's a little bit verbose, but you went over time. So I guess you and I have a few things in common. So we're good.
Right. Hey, listen, Jim, we got a kindred spirit. There's no question. I knew that when I got off with you today. I did share that with Chuck. And for me, here's the reality. you got to have a flagpole to rally around. You know, for over 200 years, 220, 250 years now, the US of A has had this flag that we've rallied around at the base of it, and we became the dominant dog on the planet. And humans, they've got to have a purpose and a cause to a crusade to rally to. If you're gonna have a crusade, you got to have you've got to have an evil, and you've got to have a good, and you got to decide which side of the line you're on.
Yeah.
So we know how to stir that up. But for me, the networking industry is a little bit like church in the sense that it's a gathering place where you can infect people with principles and ideas. Listen, we've all been through our trials in life, so we've learned from them, right? And the older you are, the more you should have learned. So there's a point you should be sewing back into people. Well, where are you going to do that? You can go to a little social group and have 25 people and do it, and there's nothing wrong with that. I just want to do it with 25 million people or more, 250 million people.
Who doesn't, you know?
I want to gather some people together and have discussions about how can we change the world? How can we have impact on the world?
Two kindred. May I take just 1 minute just to share about
No,
military?
you can't. I'm going to
Okay.
mute you. No, you can. I'm kidding you.
Okay, anyway, now, just for that, I'm going to sing to you guys for a minute. That's all your fun. No, just kidding. I want to show you something real. Oh, may I share my screen real quick? I just want to show you something. And so I think very appropriate and to Derek, your colonel. Is that correct, Derek? I think, yeah. So if I
Listen,
can,
I got to do this. Let's do this, Jim. Let's save that. And I'll tell you what,
got it.
we've got a couple of other people on here.
Yeah, no worries. All right, but
we'll circle around.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I know you're going to be a repeat offender with us here. So
oh yeah. No problem. Thank you for your time.
we'll have another time, but I
Mhm.
just want to go to any of the other guys that you've got here. We've got Jerron on here and Dean and Paula. Dean and Paula, if you want to open your pitch camera up and your mic. We've got Carrie on here. And so just want to see if any of you guys want to open your camera up or make a comment. I want to give you the opportunity. It's been a little longer than we expected. So yes, no, okay.
Yes, I like to say something. Coach, I really appreciate you. I mean, your words are infectious. And I am just blessed.
This
By
is,
every-
excuse me, just a second. I want to let everybody know, this is Jerron Skurlock. I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Yes, you are.
Jerron, where is home for you, Jerron?
Home is in Chicago. I'm on the north side of Chicago.
Well, listen, I want to do this if I could, and I don't want to cut you off. I want to do this. I want you in just in a moment, I want you to tell me, tell them about your children, about your adult children. What have they accomplished, just in a nutshell?
I am so blessed by the time, finances, and effort I put into both my sons. Wendell, who has his bachelor's degree, he got it in Texas, and he has his master's degree from University of Arkansas. And right now he's in charge of system securities nationwide for the Walton Corporation. You know, Mr. Walton, who owns Sam's Club, Walmart. He's in charge of their system securities to keep their security, keep their systems clean from any threats. And my youngest son, Jared, he has his own computer business in Colorado, and he's managing and installing security systems for big corporations all over Colorado.
Yeah, like the Denver Broncos, right?
The Broncos, the Nuggets, yes.
Yes.
You remember that.
Some significant companies, I would say. So Ron, the point, guys, that's on here, we're not attracting the janitor. Oh, well, we will bring the janitor from the school district in. We'd love to have them. But we're attracting early on a leadership team of the highest order that will have an ability to teach, to train, and to mentor people in the way that they ought go. And what I love about these guys, Jerron, you're very edifying. And what you said to me, just as Jim Chong was, is that we're going to do this together. We're going to love each other. We're going to respect each other. We're going to walk in unity, which is not the way of the world right now. And we're not going to
Correct, yeah.
we're not going to let any division come in amongst us, because when the people look at us, we want them to see something that is pleasant, attractive, and exciting. And that will be the foundation that we create wealth. That'll be the
Yes.
foundation we create wealth. So,
Yeah.
Ron, are you excited about building this?
I am about to, when you were talking, I was trying to control myself from jumping out of my seat. And then yeah, there was so many things you were saying. One of the things, like, there's no pity in a be-back city.
Hey.
I'm an old car guy, so I know about the be-back bus.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you an off-color story sometime, but I'm not going to do it tonight. So, Jerron, it's good to have you on. We're excited. Listen,
Thank you.
This group right here, we're going to take you guys to platinum before the end of the month. 12 people. Any one of you could do it in a day or two. You got
Now,
people
Coach,
that trust you, know you, and love you. And all
Yeah.
you got to do is watch the video, get them on the phone with me. I'll close them. You guys could all make company history by having 4 of you going platinum in a matter of a few days. And hey, listen, why not? Why not scare a few people out of their pants? And Jerron, when I talk, I'll be a little more careful, because I don't want you to have an accident there at your house while you're on the phone with me. So,
hey, Coach, you know what? That Kerry Skurlock who's listening,
yeah,
that's my brother.
that's your brother. Hey, Kerry, he's got his line. Why don't you unmute your line, Kerry, if you're able
Now,
to?
let me say this about Kerry. He is a vocalist. He
Really?
sang at some pretty large churches all over, Indiana, Chicago, and he's a songbird.
Well, I love it. He's a prophetic psalmist. I love it. So,
Yes, he is.
Kerry,
Yes, he is.
Kerry, it's good to have you with us tonight. And I'm gonna do the honors and let the Colonel wrap this up. Colonel, the key is to get people into action, getting that video out, and then setting up some times that we can follow up together with them. And I think you ought to grow your group between now and next Wednesday night, close a business by 25, 30 people.
I've got some fantastic folks on my team, being head up by Matt, and Ken just joined us, if you can let him in the room. But
Yeah.
we're all real excited, and we talk every day, several times a day. So we can't wait to get this thing really, really moving. Thank you so much for your leadership and mentoring us. Hey,
Hey, there's
Jared.
Ron, look at that guy. He's got more
Look at him.
white in his goatee than I do.
Hello, Ken.
He's got more hair than I do too, by the way. You look good looking brother right there. All right. Nice, man. All right.
Hello, Ken. Say hi to everybody.
I can.
You need to unmute yourself.
Yeah, he's got his line muted. You can unmute your line if you want. Well, hold on. Let me see if I got to do something here.
Sure, I got it. Is that it? I got it.
Yep, we hear you.
All
We
right,
hear
good.
you, Ken.
Good afternoon. Sorry I'm late. Good afternoon, fellas.
It's great to see you on here, Kenneth.
I'm glad you can make it. Better late than never.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's all right. Well, listen, we recorded this, Ken, and I'll send the file over to Derek, and then he can get it over to you, and you guys can share it and all that stuff. But it's good to hear your voice again, Ken. And we've had a good session tonight. Jim Chong, a new friend of mine, and came on here, and Chuck Thomas, 2-time Super Bowl champ from the 49ers, was with us. And of course, we got the illustrious Colonel Anderson and Matt Sistrunk. So I'm glad you were able to come on just for a few moments, and we'll get the video over to you.
Hey, Coach.
Yeah, good luck. You can see how good looking Matt Sistrunk's bald head is.
Yeah, I know. Hey, coach, am I cutting in for a second?
Yes, you can.
And you talked about the guy from 49ers. You might be able to help me out. A friend of mine, he played for the 49ers, Daryl Pollard.
Yeah, how old is he now?
Daryl Pollard, he's still on like 50, 58, 59.
He probably played with Chuck. What position did he play?
He was a defensive end or defensive end or safety.
So he was on the
He-
defensive side of the ball. Chuck was a center. He's not with us. He had to drop off. He had a honeydew to take care of, but we'll find out. We'll make that connection and find out.
He used to play with Ronnie Lott. He played with
Steve Young.
Steve Young, all those guys. Yeah, I got pictures of him at Super Bowl.
He's got at least one ring.
Yeah, he had two.
I think he played with Chuck on the 88, 89, or 87, 88. They won those back-to-back Super Bowls.
He was here last week. We had a big party for last weekend.
Listen, I'll get you introduced. If Derek, if you'll send me Ken's number, I'll call him and I'll set up a three-way call with Chuck and you guys can meet and talk. It'd be kind of fun to find out. But my guess is they probably know each other.
I'm sure
Chuck
they do.
was a center and he was on the defense. Since Chuck was a center and he was on the defense, they probably met at the corner every once in a while. You know what I mean?
I'm sure they did. I'm sure they did. Be
Well,
awesome. Thank you so much.
It's good to hear your voice again, Ken. And Colonel's gonna sequester you guys together in a battle-ready unit. And I'm gonna tell you something. We have Dean and Paula on. Dean, I don't know if you can open your camera up again or not. You guys might be having dinner, but love to have you open your camera up. I've got these friends of mine from Jamaica. Look at this good-looking dude. You Jamaicans are about the happiest people on the planet, right?
Yeah.
Well, listen,
Hi.
Hi, everyone.
Paula
Hey.
Dean out of Kingston, Jamaica. They're going to
Yeah.
be building in the stateside until we open Jamaica, but they got international contacts. They're significant networkers. They're good Christian people. I met from another friend of mine just yesterday, and they are leaving another company that has a competitive product, which I'm not going to mention their name. It doesn't do any good. But they're coming over here, and I got to tell you something. I think they're going to be the Kingston Kings of MPG
There you go.
Receive.
and Queen.
And Queen. There you go.
Just want to let
All right.
you know.
Well, Derek,
to know.
anything else? I'm sorry.
Right,
Go ahead.
just-
Dean. Go
Just
ahead.
wanted to know how blessed we are, elated we are to be a part of this great team. I can hear from experience, Sir Blaine, a wealth of experience. I just wanted to know that we are very teachable. We are willing to learn. I am at your feet. I have no pride about that. At your feet, we're at your feet. We're ready to follow the culture. Everything you say, we will do. You can trust
Let me
us.
tell
on
you
that.
something that I can tell
Right.
you from my lips to your heart. I will never lie to you.
Yeah.
I will never violate you. I will never betray you.
We,
I will make certain that the people that come in will be proud to be in business with us together. I will honor you more than I will honor myself. So if we do those things together, we will change the world. The world is sick and tired of all the division. I'm looking on the screen right now, and listen, I'm almost an albino compared to most of you. And I don't know about you, but I'm sick and tired of all the race baiting and all the stuff that's going on this planet. Because I played ball. I was a defensive back in college, so I played in a black man's world, and
wow.
I coached defensive backs in college. And what I found out is if I was to reach into their chest and pull their heart out, it would be pumping the same red blood mine did.
Right.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm not going to tolerate any division among anybody. We're gonna learn to get over our differences with have nothing to do with ethnicity. It has to do with personality and the way we look at things. And what's going to happen is in 3 or 4 months from now, people are going to be watching this team and saying there is something unique about that group of people. And when we go to the planet, when we go to the nations of the world, and they see us together, making money, having fun, building a future for ourselves and our families and caring for one another. Let me tell you something, that's what people want right now. That's the prescription that the doctor, ordered,
Definitely.
in my opinion.
We definitely feel at home.
Well,
In Jamaica, the Rastaman would say, we burn bad mind, we burn bad mind. We burn segregation, division, confusion, stuff like that. We feel like we're at
Amen.
home. I like the energy, I like the vibes. We are ready for this. This is divine connection, divine, timing. If you notice, I called you like about 2-3 minutes before this call. I love that. And I believe that we're about to take off. This is it.
well, listen, you guys from Jamaica know how to run fast. I want to see if you know how to go sponsor. I want to see if you know how to sponsor 12 people fast.
With your help, we will.
Well, we're gonna do it together. We'll do it
Not just
together.
you.
And
All
listen,
of
it
you.
doesn't
All of
matter.
you.
It doesn't matter who your sponsor is. What matters is what you do and that you're tapped in. And what'll happen is as we grow together, we start to share the ideas. When they hear them talking, when they hear you talking, Dean, they're gonna say, you sound like Blaine. You're saying the same thing Blaine said. When
Wow,
they hear the
definitely.
Colonel, they're gonna say, well, you sound just like Jerron. Why? Because we're working out of the same playbook. If someone's doing something different, they're just not, they're not suitable. They need to go play cricket or something. They're not suitable for 11-man roster. You gotta get on the same page, run the same playbook, run it the same way, and then you've got something duplicatable. If we do that, you could take 6 months off and travel and go do ministry or life-changing, world-changing things, and the business will keep growing because it's not based on your personality. That all makes sense to you?
Yes, sir.
Well, listen, I'm gonna wrap this up. This has been a long evening, but I've sure enjoyed it. And some of you, what's the time zone out there in Jamaica? Eastern or Central? You got your mic off. Your lips are moving. Your lips are moving. I can't hear what you're saying. Unmute your mic.
Oh, 9:59.
Oh, well, you're
For
Central.
Central Time.
Central time.
Central time. All right. Well,
Central
you
time,
got,
yeah.
you're close to the same time zone as some of the rest. So
Yeah,
all
same
for
with Derek.
one for all. And here's the deal. We got the easy part done. We met, we talked, we got the easy part done. I want to know who's going to be the first platinum here. That's what I want to know. Who's going to be the one that's going to go get their 12? That's what I want to know. And I tell you something, if you're committed to it, you get my phone number and you run me ragged and I'll talk to people until we get the job done.
Okay,
Okay?
All
I'd like
right.
to hear that.
All
Thank you,
right.
Coach.
All right,
Thank you,
proud of
Coach.
all of you. Great to be in business with you. Derek, I'll get this audio over to you. Dean, you got my number. You know how to reach me.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so we'll talk maybe tomorrow.
Thanks a million, Coach.
All right.
Thank you,
Okay.
Coach.
Thank you,
Take
Have a
Coach.
care,
good
everybody.
time.
Coach.
Nice